Rising up, here we go. No time to be afraid. They say it's impossible. Can't listen to what they say. They got me motivated. Oh yeah, I'm motivated.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Maximize the Business of You. I'm Maximino. Today, we continue our conversation with Mr. Moe about cryptocurrency and the future of money. Mr. Moe, welcome back.
Hey, Max. Great to be back.
So, the first half of our conversation, we discussed the history of crypto, the macroeconomics of crypto, and how crypto, especially Bitcoin, has become a store of value, and how the system was created. Today I want to talk about practical advice for normal people on how to invest and how they get started if they're interested in investing in crypto and learning about it. So what would be one of the first tips you could share with us to get people motivated and moving on learning about crypto?
Yeah, sure. So the way that most people get into crypto is they usually start by opening an account on an exchange on something like a Coinbase. And usually they'll say, start out by, $25 of a crypto like Bitcoin or Ethereum, and understand how that process works. It's usually straightforward. You're basically going to just do a sign up with your name. You'll go through what's referred to as a KYC, which is know your customer, your name, your information. They will verify you, and once you're verified, you will attach a bank account where you could use to purchase a token or a Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other asset that's available on there. So Coinbase.com, I think, is one way that you could start. The other way is there's a website called CoinMarketCap.com, and it's an informational site. And on this site, it will list all of the multiple different cryptocurrencies in the market. And it will also list all the multiple different exchanges that sell and buy cryptocurrencies. So Coinbase.com is one place that you can begin. CoinMarketCap.com is another site that you could inform yourself in terms of all of the other different forms of cryptocurrencies that are available in the market. And this is continuing to. We're seeing more and more cryptos come to market. In the same manner that when stocks began on Wall Street, there were just a few, and as time went on, there was more and more stocks. So this is a great site for information. Also, there have some great tools there for the education side. The education side of cryptocurrency is something that I'm focused on, is making sure that we can help educate as many people in understanding the basics, the fundamentals of how this works, whether you're looking to invest in something or whether you're just looking for cryptocurrency to maybe you want to integrate this into your business. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. Maybe you want to accept Bitcoin at your place of business, or maybe you might want to accept a different type of currency. You also have currencies that are pegged to fiat currencies. So you have what's referred to as Tether, which is USDT. It's basically one for one. One token equals $1, and if you wanted to use that, you can also. So if you have a custom client, you could use.
Are those considered stable coins?
Yeah, so stable coins are usually tokens that are attached to fiat currencies. So they have been kicking up more and more, and you're seeing more banks also get involved and offering stable coins, which I think is good. We need a bridge, right, to make it easier for people to understand. And there's different type of tokens and stable coins, not only for US dollar, but for pound and other currencies around the world.
If I was starting out, how concerned should I be about security and protecting my cryptocurrency? I think a lot of people don't understand that side of it. How do they protect themselves when they purchase crypto? Should they keep it on an exchange? Should they get a wallet? What is a wallet? Help me out.
Yeah. So here's the cool thing, that there's different ways. You could sign up to an exchange like a Coinbase. You can purchase Bitcoin there. If you're starting out, your best bet is to use a Coinbase because they are FDIC insured. So if anything happens, the exchange is
Just like a
insured,
bank.
in the same, just like a bank
Gotcha.
is. So you're seeing more and more of these exchanges have insurance on it, and that's a good thing. We want a secure and healthy environment for cryptocurrency. So that's one way. The other way is, if you are learning more about cryptocurrencies and you understand the technology, you could now use things that are hardware wallets. These are little devices that look like a USB drive, sometimes a little bit bigger, where you can store your tokens and your cryptocurrencies on this hardware device. You want to make sure, though, that you have everything that you need to keep it secure. But also, in the case that, if God forbid something happens to you, your family or whoever needs to access that can access it, and not say, "Hey, I have a ton of money in a hardware wallet, but I don't know how to get it out." That could become a problem. So you could use things like paper wallets, right? So a paper wallet would have a long
Code.
line of, letters and numbers and code, and you could rebuild the wallet with a paper wallet. The other thing is, on some of these exchanges, you could use authentication systems, which is referred to as 2FA. And the idea is that when you log in, you will also be putting in a 6-digit number verifying that you are logging in. And you're the only one that has access to those 6 digits because of the application that you run. So it's a second layer of security also that people use. So 2FA is something that you would use to keep your accounts more secure. So for now, if you're starting out, I would say use an exchange, and an exchange that has the insurance, until you feel comfortable enough to begin to move some of that onto a hardware wallet.
Mr. Moe, when I talk to friends of mine and start talking about crypto, there's still so many people that, all their information is negative on crypto. Oh yeah, I heard it gets hacked. You really gonna trust that? It's not real money. Why do you think cryptocurrencies get raps like that? Bad raps?
Every new technology goes through that. I remember the early days of the dot-com era, where we just did not have trust in these new systems. We didn't have trust in the Yahoos. We didn't have trust in the Amazons. People they didn't believe that these technologies and these platforms could become what they are today. And a lot of these platforms, they've transformed the world. So I think that's a natural part of any new technology. People are very resistant. The technology is also very new,
Right.
so it requires a lot of development, and sometimes you do have some hiccups. But here's the thing: when you think about it, Bitcoin has been around for 10 years.
Never been hacked.
And it hasn't been hacked. It's been able to do something that the banking system hasn't done
Right.
ever.
That's why when people, most of them are ignorant to the factor because they don't know about it, But
Yeah.
when they talk about, you can't trust it. It's like when you used to put your credit card into a website. or like
Yeah.
type in your credit card in. I remember people were scared of that. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna buy nothing online. You crazy? So that's why I feel it's so important to let people know what's coming, especially in my audience, because we need to be prepared. One, to protect ourselves because of inflation, the possibility of inflation, and how do we protect ourselves? But two, because this is the future, and the quicker we adapt and get involved and know about it, the better, I think, we we will become. We will be more prepared to what's coming in the future.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. I think, the world is changing.
Quick.
Um, it's changing fast. And if we just take a moment and we realize that, right now we are inside of a math war. We are inside of also a trade war also. Um, and the future, it has to be about trade, commerce everywhere around the world with as many people participating. I think the three main technologies that come to mind for me, that come to mind, are really renewable energies. I think are at the center of this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Smartphone technology for communication, and then applications for cryptocurrencies to be able to trade, to do commerce, to send payments, to invest. The tools and the services now that this new generation has, is it's just incredible. The idea that I can take my phone and if I want to invest in art with the token, I can do it. If I want to invest in real estate with a token, I can do it. If I want to buy a condo in Miami with Bitcoin, I can do it. If I want to invest in something that has been tokenized, and I think we will see a lot more businesses tokenized down the road. Right now, you're seeing the bigger industries like the energy industry, the oil industry. British Petroleum Oil uses Ethereum to do a lot of its transactions and settlements now in the oil markets. So those are things that are beginning to you're seeing this with the larger corporations, but eventually you'll see that on the small business side, eventually the retail side, the entrepreneur on the go or the mobile content creator now can
Anywhere
run their business, receive a
around the
payment
world. I love
anywhere
that.
in the world, and and I was helping doing a conference once, and we were helping to get the entertainment industry to understand about blockchains and how that's
Payments.
going to impact the entertainment industry and payments and royalties,
Big
right?
problem.
And I think that
Big
yeah,
problem.
that's a big problem. That's coming. That's something that you will see a change in as time goes on. But just the fact that this technology is able to reach into all different type of industries and categories, and that the end user, again, with a mobile phone, an application, and a tokenized system, you will see. I think you will see a lot of people come into the market and adapt in the same manner that we adapted cell phone technology, internet technology. We do our payments now through the internet now. That's the world we
I
live in now. So I think it's great, especially for the Latino community and people of color, to really begin to understand this, begin to understand the fundamentals, but also understand that this is going to be a big opportunity for everyone, not just big money, but for everyone. And I'm in favor of whatever can help make the world a better place. If this technology helps us, great. This is something that so far I'm seeing a lot of positive signs. Of course, like any other industry, especially in tech, you always have a few. You do have some hiccups. No industry is perfect. Every industry goes through it. But I'm confident if you invested in the Amazon, the Googles of the world early on, this is the next phase of that.
absolutely.
You will be investing in token systems that businesses right now that we can't imagine, right? Just think of 2008 for a moment. How many businesses came out of that? Think of the Airbnbs, the Ubers, the Lyfts, all these
Stuff.
new
Yep.
companies that came out of that. I think 2020, this pandemic, was really an opportunity for people just to take a moment, stop, and to really think about what's happening in the world. And now we're going through, a lot of changes. Our country is a little bit polarized. I remain optimistic that we
Past
will get
this.
past this, and we will get yeah, we'll get past this. We'll get past the pandemic, and we'll write a new chapter. But in this new chapter, it's going to be
Right.
tech at the center.
I hear a lot of talk about the token
Okay.
economy, and you were talking about how businesses
Yeah.
are going to create tokens. Can you explain a little bit that? Because that's where I get confused. I mean, I understand that an artist can tokenize a song, maybe. Am I correct about that? Like, how does that work? Tokenization.
Yeah. I'll give you two scenarios for artists or anybody in intellectual property. So there's a DJ by the name of DJ Grammatic, very talented artist, and he decided that he wanted to tokenize himself as an artist. So what he did was he created his own token on the Ethereum protocol, and he was able to raise $2 million on his token. And what that means is that his fan base now can participate in his revenue stream because they are the token holders. So whether he's selling a piece of music, whether he is selling tickets for a live show, whether the artist is selling merchandising, or whether the artist is generating any type of revenue from any type of business, say it's an endorsement from a commercial, whatever you want to include in the revenue sharing, the fans can now participate
And
in that. So tokenizing yourself as an artist has been done already. It's been done successfully, and
and
that's one example of it. Another example could be where you don't need to print a million tokens, where you just say, you know what, I'm a photographer, I have one of a kind pieces, and instead of printing 20 pieces that I'm going to sell as a hard copy, I'm going to print 20 digital copies and there will only be 20 digital copies. So it's going to be a fixed amount, and I will make those available. That's referred to as NFT, which refers to as non-fungible tokens. So these are one of a kind. Think of them
right.
as like baseball cards, digital baseball cards for artists, musicians, writers, creatives. They can do it based on pieces of art. Instead of doing it as the artist, you could do it based on a per piece, and you would use an NFT model for that. That's very popular in gaming. The gaming community has really been a very instrumental part of tokenizing and tokenomics, and because when you really think about it, all this technology is great, but it doesn't mean anything if culture is not adapting it. So when we look at culture today and we see how much culture is adapting in technology, especially the gamers, they use tokens for their gaming systems and reward systems. And it's also how you can incentivize your fan base as well, where you can offer some tokens to some of the fans who go to the concerts, who buy the merch, who come backstage. You could use all these things for concerts. I think it's going to be really good because you could create tickets on the blockchain and verify them. And that the reason why that's important is because you can completely cut out
Scalping.
scalping,
Yeah.
and that's a killer app.
That's awesome. That's so much to take in, Mr. Mo. I'm just like, whoa. But education is key, right? Learning about crypto and the whole space is key. How do you suggest people go about learning? Just researching online? What do you think?
So the cool thing about crypto is driven a lot by community. The crypto currency community or the blockchain community, you can go onto Twitter. So if you go onto Twitter, you'll see the conversations taking place there. But there's places also like Discord that you can go and be part of the cryptocurrency community for educational purposes. Regarding the educational side of cryptocurrencies, there's different aspects of it. First is the fundamentals. What is Bitcoin? What is a blockchain? What is crypto? How does this work? More importantly, why do we
Right.
need this? Then there's for people that want to learn the investment, then there's FA, which is the fundamental analysis. In other words, what is this token? What is this project about? Who's behind this? Who are the teams, right? The most important question for me is, what problem does this solve in the marketplace? And when you can understand that, then you can look at, say, like a chart and look at the technical analysis, the TA, and the TA is going to tell you whether a token is near value or undervalue, or whether it's just oversold. Maybe the project you like, but maybe the price has just gone up too high. Maybe you have to put a plan to say, I'm going to wait for this to come down a little bit. So there's FA, there's TA, but regarding the education, that's really where you want to focus, and you want to spend as much time as possible. YouTube is a great resource to go and learn about crypto and blockchains. And one of the people that I like to follow is a gentleman by the name of Andreas Antonopoulos, someone who really understands Bitcoin from different aspects. He understands it from a currency perspective. He understands it from a technology perspective, from a historical perspective. He's incredibly insightful, very inspiring person, someone who I always look up to, that understands, more importantly, the narrative of cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, and blockchain. I'm also part of different communities. I'm part of a community called Bleeding Crypto, and it's a great community of investors and traders from all over the world, and where we share ideas about cryptocurrencies. And we, on one side, will show where we take investments, and on the other side, where we will take a trade. Maybe it's not a long-term view of a token. Maybe it's something that we just want to come into, make a little bit of a profit, and then come out of it. But for the most part, it's a community of mentors, of people who understand the space and that help others coming into this space understand it better. Understand, again, the fundamentals. It takes a little bit of time, but if it's something that you feel that speaks to you and that you understand, then I think there's a lot of possibility. There's a lot of potential to say, all right, I want to come into this space not as a trader. I want to come in as a investor. Or you may come in and say, you know what, I understand this now, and what I want to do is I want to implement it in my business. Maybe it's an entrepreneur or a small business. So we've had all different type of people come into the space, and for different reasons. But the education is something that, again, I want to emphasize, is something that make sure you go through that process. If you have any questions, you can always, you can reach out to me. I'm on Twitter under the handle It's Mr Moe, and you could also go to mrmo.com and send me an email if you have a question. Again, this is a period now where it's still believe it or not, it's still early. It's still
early. Again, this is not investment advice. Go seek a professional if you're looking for investment advice. But I want to talk a little bit about, before we go, about how early we are, because through price prediction, I've seen outrageous numbers going from crypto is going to be 20,000 by the end of this year. In 3 years, 100,000. In 5 years, 150,000. I mean, it just goes like, wow, really? What do you think about that, Mr. Moe? Before we go.
So right now, I mean, we can talk about, or we can speculate about where price can go. More importantly for me is what kind of applications can this technology empower, and how can it make our lives easier? But looking at this from a macro perspective, considering what central banks are doing, I do think that we will see a lot more capital and liquidity coming into the cryptocurrency space. The size of the market today is about shy of $400 billion inside of the cryptocurrency space. I've seen it as high as $800 billion. But I've read in some estimates that we'll probably see in the cryptocurrency space anywhere from $3 trillion to $5 trillion of capital and liquidity coming into this space in the next couple of years. I think if banks continue to print, it will probably happen a little bit faster. But I would advise to be in tune with it, but don't make that the centerpiece of it, because it could definitely make you distracted. More importantly is the type of applications that are going to be built, because that's where the value really is. And that's what we want. We want technologies to make our life easier. We want the technologies to add value in the marketplace and in the services and products that we buy. But looking at Bitcoin now, it's at 13K. I've seen Bitcoin in the double digits, and I've seen it go through this huge run to 20K. We could see it go back up to 30, 50K. You could look at people that are very influential in the market space and who have been thought leaders. The Winklevoss brothers, who were ahead of the game. They're looking at a price prediction of about maybe $500,000 per Bitcoin. And by the way, it doesn't mean that you have to have $500,000.
You can get fractional.
Bitcoin, you could buy a fraction of it. You could just say, I want $20 of it, or $100 of it, or whatever it is that that you're comfortable with. So price prediction will be based on, in my opinion, the utility. Are people using this? And if they are, to me, it always goes back to culture. If the culture is using it, then there's value in it. If the culture if the culture is using search engines, mobile apps, social media platforms, there's value.
Absolutely. In that. Mr. Moe, man, this was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. I appreciate you. Everybody, this is Maurice Gallego, a.k.a. Mr. Moe. Follow him and keep learning about crypto, because it's important and it's going to change everything again. So thank you, Mr. Moe.